Then if we can move off the screenshot and go to page 797, which is in new file 2. Is it in new file 2? No, sorry, old file 2.
797.
It should be the same file then, if it's 2 of 4.
2 of 4, same file.
Yes.
Same file that you were in, page 797. And I don't want us to display this. But what we see at page 797, do you have it?
I'm still opening it.
Do you have it now?
Yes, I have it.
What we see at page 797 is a photograph that was on your phone, and it's a photograph of a picture on another phone, and the picture on the other phone looks like an extract from a SAPS record, some sort of personnel record for an individual who is employed by SAPS, and I don't want us to mention that person's name. But I do want to know how you came to get this photograph. From whom did you get this photograph to begin with? Well, let's start there. From whom did you get this photograph?
I got this photograph from the informant that was brought to me by General Shibiri. The informant's name is, I don't know if I can mention it, but...
Don't mention that name, but maybe put it down on a piece of paper that the commissioners can see and that I will be able to see.
Can I have a piece?
Yes, Mr. Chaskalson.
When did this informant bring you that that information? Or that picture, not that information, that picture.
During the collecting of information,
Yes, but when? When are we talking about? When did this happen?
I can't remember exactly when, but if maybe the commission can just allow me to explain when did it started. That's why they must just get a clear picture.
Certainly, if you can't give me an exact or even an approximate date now, maybe explain the context or what you wanted to say, and then we can ask further.
But be careful not to mention the name on that picture.
Or the name of the informant.
Yes.
Not my informant, General Shibiri's informant.
Even so, one shouldn't mention the name.
Yes. Okay, Commissioner, I was seated in my office when I received a call from General Shibiri telling me to come to his office. On my arrival to his office,
Just, do you mind speaking up? There's a complaint that you cannot be heard, so.
Please just pull them closer to you.
okay, on my arrival to General Shibiri's office, he introduced me to this 1-1, and then upon introduction, it was vis-a-vis, and there and there he further informed me that this one is got information of the kidnappers. That was according to General Shibiri. And he also got the information about the illicit cigarettes that are being sourced from Zimbabwe to South Africa. He said he's handing that informant to me, and then that informant will show me or point me the addresses of the said people who are involved, some who are kept, and the said cigarettes. Immediately, myself and the informers, we went out from General Shibiri's office because automatically that was all about that, the introduction. Then the first operation was in Limpopo when I went to verify or spot the address where there were Pakistanis who were kept there against their will, and the illegal cigarettes from Zimbabwe. Immediately when I arrived there, as I was observing, I took the photo to General Shibiri. I sent the pin location as well to General Shibiri, so that to prove that indeed I did follow up the set address. On the very, then we came back very late because of it was fire there in Limpopo. On the very same week, the same informant contacted me about these alleged kidnappers, or who kidnapped one Chinese guy. One of the addresses now was this. the 797. But then I did not have this. I went there. I did the same what I did in Limpopo. I took picture, location, send it to General Shibiri. I went to another address again in Centurion. I took picture, location, sent to General Shibiri. Now, after 2 or 3 days, this informant sent me now this. I go back to the sender now. Who is General Shibiri? I said, this is what I received from the informant. But before I could go to him, I also sent it to him. As I received it, I forwarded. So I went there to explain to him now, personally, that this is what I have. What do you know about it? He said, according to what the informant is telling you, that people are kept against their will there. But I said, to me, according to me, that address, it needs the intelligence to make an observation, because there is no movement. I've spent plus minus an hour or two on 2 of the addresses, that one of this and the other one in Centurion. So it was different than the one in Limpopo, where you will see that the shop is busy, that people are working there. So I recommend to General Shibiri that no, there must be an observation here, the intelligent one. According to me, it's not something that we can act upon it. So that is where I stop. It came about that.
So this informant with the name that we saw on the piece of paper was an informant who was, as it were, given to you by General Shibiri.
I confirm.
And the informant came from Pakistan. Sorry, is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you have more than one informant with that name who comes from Pakistan? Or is there just one informant with that name that you have who comes from Pakistan?
I'm not sure that I get your question.
So let's call the informant John, okay? Because we know his name isn't John. Okay?
Yes.
And you say John comes from Pakistan.
Yes.
Do you have another informant called John from Pakistan, except not John, this, the real name of this informant? Do you have several informants from Pakistan, all with the same name, or just one?
This one was not my informant, but that John name, according to my knowledge, is only one in my phone, the John name.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there's only one informant by that name who comes from Pakistan.
That's correct.
And that informant, you say, was assisting with investigations into kidnapping and into illegal cigarettes.
Yes.
And in that context, the informant gave you first pointed out an address where people were being held against their will on one occasion. And you then took a picture of that address, or you sent a pin of that address? How did you record the address on the first occasion?
I wrote it on a diary, and I took same picture and sent it to the general.
So you wrote it in your diary, and you sent a picture of it to General Shabiri?
Yes.
Talking about diaries, I presume you carry a pocketbook with you when you're on police business.
That's correct.
And do you have a pocketbook for the period 2024 and 2025?
I will check when I arrive home. But the last time I checked, I had the
Because
pocketbooks.
we would like to see those pocketbooks if they still exist.
Yes.
Can we arrange through your attorney to get a copy as soon as possible?
Yes, once I find them, I will do that.
But now we're talking, going back to this address and your informant. The first occasion, he gives you an address. Did he give you the address orally? Did he say the address, or did he show you a written recordal of the address? Did he? You had to write it down in your diary. So, and that's what you sent to General Shabiri. How did you know what to write down in the diary? How was it conveyed to you?
Okay. Firstly, about these addresses, General Shabiri briefed me first in the presence of the informant that this informant is going to show you the said addresses that he alleges that there is irregularity there. So now, after that, I go to with the informant to those addresses.
So when he briefed you, it wasn't in the presence of the informant. You had to go to see
No,
him.
it was in the presence of the informant.
So then you didn't have to go to meet the informant, you had to go with the informant somewhere.
Can you?
So if it was in the presence of the informant, then you and the informant were together.
When we were formally introduced, I was briefed about what the informant is going to do with me.
So you have a meeting, you, General Shabiri, and the informant.
That
And
was the
General
info-
Shabiri says this informant is going to point out some addresses to you.
That's correct.
When does the informant point out the addresses? On the same day, another day?
On the following day, the first address was in Limpopo. If I will check with my chats with General Shabiri, where I've sent him the location and the pictures of that address.
So that's the first address. And approximately when would this have been?
Can you repeat that again?
Approximately when would that first meeting with this informant for the first time be, and then you go off with the informant to Limpopo to see an address?
The first meeting I was introduced in head office, in General Shabiri's office.
But approximately when? Are we talking 2025, 2024, 2023? What's it looking like? How do you remember when that meeting was? Sorry, not how do you remember. Have you got a recollection of when that first meeting was?
I can't really remember whether it was 2024 or 2025, but if it was 2024, it must have been maybe, let's say, around December. If it was 2025, it might have been around January. So I'm not quite sure.
And you then go off to Limpopo, the address is pointed out to you, and you make a note of what the address is. Is it an address in a town, or is it an address out in the rural areas?
Rural areas.
And so how would you have described it when you write it down? How do you describe an address that's just out in the rural areas? Because it's not going to be a street name and a street number. How would you have described it?
Rural areas got addresses.
So this is out in the countryside, but you have a street name and a street number.
Out in the countryside.
Yeah?
It's in Limpopo.
No, I understand it's in Limpopo, but maybe we're cross purposes with rural areas. Is it in a town, or is it just a farm in the countryside?
Or emakhaya, bathi ngesizulu esase KZN abathi emakhaya lapho ngekho edolobheni.
Lokshi.
Elokishini.
Ekasi, yeah.
Okay, so we can have a house number, as it were, to describe the address.
Yes.
And you then WhatsApp that address on a piece of paper to General Shibiri.
Not WhatsApp.
You photograph it.
Yes.
You don't WhatsApp it to General Shibiri.
I photograph, send pin location.
And you sent a pin location to General Shibiri. Okay, so you didn't actually need to, you had a very precise position for that address.
That's correct.
Now that's the first occasion.
Yes.
Out in Limpopo. Now I understand that your evidence was that this witness came back to you on a second occasion to say, I now have found another place where kidnappers are holding people against their will.
Yes.
How soon after the first occasion was this?
I think soon after, General Shibiri went to a Pakistani embassy. There was a complaint against some Pakistani asylum who were kept against their will. So it was a complaint from embassy to the head office. Then General Shibiri was tasked, because he's the one who attended it there. And he had a memorandum about that as well, maybe can be asked. And then okay.
No, my question's slightly different. It's how long after the first trip with a witness to an address where kidnappers were holding people did the witness come to you a second time with the address that we see in the photograph? How long passed between your two meetings with this witness at which the witness disclosed addresses where kidnappers were holding people?
It might be maybe a week, subjected to be corrected based on what I've sent to General Shibiri, but I think a week or 6 days, somewhere like that.
So it was relatively quick.
Yes.
Now, this informant, he was introduced to you by General Shibiri, you said, approximately a day before the first trip to Limpopo. General Shibiri called you in with the witness and said, this is my informant, he has information, this is what he's going to do, and then you said the next day you went off to Limpopo to find the house.
Yes.
And you had had no contact with this witness before you were introduced by General Shibiri.
No.
And then approximately a week later, this witness gave you the second address. And that second address is what you photographed on your iPhone. Well, not on your iPhone, I don't know what phone you had. But you took a picture of that second address on your phone.
That's correct. I did, as I did on the first address.
Well, the first time you weren't taking a picture of a phone, you were taking a picture of some writing in a diary.
That's correct.
Now, where were you when you took the picture of the informant's phone?
In Pretoria.
And where? At police headquarters? At somewhere else? I mean, where in Pretoria?
Pretoria CBD.
So it wasn't you had a meeting with the witness, not at your office, but at some venue in Pretoria.
Just in CBD.
Just in the CBD somewhere.
Yes.
And the witness shows you this picture.
Yes.
Sorry, the informant. And you then decide, well, you photograph it so that you have a record of it yourself.
Yes, that's correct.
You see, Sergeant, I have to put it to you that that story is false for several reasons. The most fundamental one is that the photograph, as we'll see on page 798, was taken on the 13th of June 2025. Your photograph was taken on the 13th of June 2025. And what your WhatsApps will show is that you've been communicating with this informant since the 14th of February 2024. So if the informant was introduced to you by General Shibiri for the first time a day before the first trip to identify an address, and the second encounter where you took this photo was a week later, that would all have happened in the course of June 2025. And it wouldn't have been possible for you to be in communication with this witness some 14 months previously in February 2024. What's your response to that?
I might have made a mistake when it comes to the dates, but I still stick to my cards when I say the said informant was introduced to me by General Shibiri. I might maybe done a mistake, human error, by not being sure about the dates. But I started to communicate with the said person on that day.
But Sergeant, I don't think it's possible to make a mistake of this nature. I don't think one can make an innocent mistake of thinking that you had two meetings with this witness 1 week apart, when, if your story is true, those meetings would have to be 14 months apart, not 1 week apart. Can you respond to that?
I have no reason to lie, especially about General Shibiri or about the said informant. And I still put it to the commission that what I say is what transpired. I would not, no matter how evil I might be or I might look, and start to paint someone for something that you don't know or is distant from. This issue that is here by my right-hand side, I did discuss it with General Shibiri because he is the one who introduced to me this person.
You see, Sergeant, there's a second aspect of your story which doesn't add up as far as I'm concerned. Because if we look at this photograph is of a picture taken by someone who has access to an internal SAPS personnel computer. If you look at the picture, it's a SAPS screen. It has the service number of a SAPS officer. It has the home address of a SAPS officer. It has the SAPS email address of a SAPS officer. So whoever took the original picture that you photographed would have to have been someone with access to a SAPS computer. You accept that?
Yes, I do agree.
So how would your informant from Pakistan have ended up providing you with this picture?
Not my informant.
General Shabiri's informant.
Yes. I would not know. That is the reason I've raised it up with him.
Commissioner, Mr. Chaskalson, we have not been provided with the charts or cell phone records of the informant to verify the dates on our records.
Chair, again, sorry, my microphone has just stopped functioning. Switch around. Chair, can we just switch around here?
Perhaps we should adjourn. My co-commissioners' mics are also not working. Just very briefly.
This microphone does work.
Perhaps please respond to that, and then we'll have to take a short adjournment. Yes.
Mr. Ngwato is correct. We haven't, this informant's chats with with Sergeant Nkosi certainly aren't in the bundle. They may or may not have been on the first memory stick. I didn't realize they had any relevance whatsoever until this evidence was given. When this evidence was given, I went online, or not online, I went to our record and went to see, one, whether this witness, the witness with the name that I remembered, came from Pakistan, and indeed the witness the informant does, and two, when those chats started. So I'm happy to download those chats, and Mr. Ngwato can re-examine on the basis of it. I didn't realize the chats were going to be relevant until this evidence was given.
Please remind me again, Sergeant Gosi is scheduled to testify until when?
Well, until released. And we will certainly
No, I'm asking in the context of we usually have 2, 3, or 4 days. I'm asking in that sense, Mr. Chaskalson.
I'm not sure what the arrangement was. We still have to get to a huge number of chats about the Tshwane Police Department, which were provided to Sergeant Gosi about 3 weeks ago.
Thank you.
It will certainly be more than a day.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ngwato?
Chair, I have a serious problem with the response that Mr. Chaskalson just indicated, and I'm getting, every day surprised with new information, new documents. And now he says to you, there's still a lot of questions to come about Tshwane on documents that were provided to us 3 weeks ago. That's not correct. The documents on Tshwane were only delivered on my office this Friday. And I did not make an issue about it. That forced me to then change my entire weekend to then accommodate that. And now it comes to you that these documents were given to us 3 weeks ago, which is incorrect. They were delivered to my office just this Friday, and I made peace with it. Yesterday, new documents were now surprisingly brought up, and I raised that issue. I was promised to get the documents during lunchtime, which I did not. They sent it to me 9 o'clock at night. Now, just as we're continuing with it, new documents tried to slip into my files this morning. And now there's suddenly another file of documents. This cannot be accepted. It cannot be that, they were not aware that this matter will come up. But if they knew and they planned their line of questioning in terms of this witness, they should have then provided us with the necessary information. How do I then consult and guide this witness with information from time to time as we proceed? New documents have been raised, documents have been delivered at night. How do then I continue to be able to assist if I don't have the necessary documentation? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ngwato.
Chair, I do need to put something on record.
Just a minute, I'll come to you just now. Yes, Mr. Chaskalson.
Chair, these documents, the Tshwane documents, which Mr. Ngwato now says he saw for the first time on Friday, the documents were provided electronically. I'm about to get the exact date, but to my memory, it was 3 weeks ago. I may be wrong on 3 weeks, but it was certainly not Friday. I'm going to get the exact date.
Were they part of the 1,300 and something?
No, the 1,300 were back in before February.
Yes.
These were a supplementary batch.
Yes.
That were given once we realized the relevance of the Tshwane documents. And when we did, we made them available electronically.
No, I wanted my co-co to just check their mics. Are they still not working? Oh, working. Oh, okay. Yes, sorry about that.
They were made available then, but we didn't print out a hard copy bundle. What Mr. Ngwato got was the paginated bundle on Friday. The documents forming part of the paginated bundle had been sent to him electronically weeks before Friday. So his complaint that he hasn't seen these documents before is factually incorrect. Or if it's correct, it's because he chose not to look at the documents sent electronically. What he got on Friday was the paginated bundle. In relation to this...
pagination of what was given to him electronically
earlier,
already.
Indeed.
Much earlier.
What... Yeah, it's the bundle was sent to him on 3 March. It's 2 weeks. It's not 3 weeks. Why I referred to this set of chats now is until the witness explained the photograph with reference to this informant, I had no inkling that that the chats with the informant were going to be of any relevance at all. Now, what we choose to give to a respondent is in part governed by concerns of fairness and relevance. If I were to give, I'm quite happy to give Mr. Ngwato everything that we have downloaded from Sergeant Nkosi's phone. But that will be thousands and thousands of documents which he will not be able to work through in a systematic way. So we exercise some sort of filtering process based on what the witness has said in the statement and what we believe to be relevant. This chat that we're talking about is relevant only to disprove the answer that the witness has just given now, which we couldn't possibly have anticipated. And I'm not going to refer to the chat for any other purpose. The facts, the fact that the witness, that the informant comes from Pakistan is evident from one page of the chats. The starting date of the chats is evident from another page of the chats. I can give 2 pages to Mr. Ngwato and he can have all of the relevant information upon which I depend in relation to the chat between Sergeant Nkosi and this informant. But unless Mr. Ngwato wants us to give everything, and he's never asked for that, we have to exercise some sort of filtering principle. Otherwise, what we would dump on him would preoccupy him for weeks before he could be on top of it. So that's what I wanted to place on record.
Thank you, Mr. Chaskalson. Mr. Ngwato, I think we must separate issues. When you first raised an issue, it related to the questions that Mr. Chaskalson is putting to Sergeant Gosi. But then you also raised another issue, and that is what I'm saying should be separated from the issue relating to the questioning now. That other issue is about the documents that you say were given to you only about a week or so ago. It seems to me that that issue is different, but also there's the question that Mr. Chaskalson puts before us, which is that those documents were actually given to you electronically quite some time back. I think he said 3 weeks ago?
No,
electronically.
The electronic link to all of the documents in the bundle was given 2 weeks ago.
Or 2 weeks ago electronically. And that is only later that they were given to you in a paginated form. So I'm saying all of that should be treated differently to the questions being asked now. Let me start with the questions being asked now. The questions being asked now, that issue to me is similar to what arose this morning. If you remember, that related to, was it a bank statement? I think it was. And how I resolved that was that that is an issue that arose because of answers given by Sergeant Gosi. And it is those answers that took Mr. Chaskalson to the documents that you had not had sight of. And there is no way that we would then gag Mr. Chaskalson from going to documents that are relevant to answers given by the witness. And he had not shared those documents with you because, but for those responses, there was never an intention to use those documents. So it seems to me that what has arisen now with regard to this questioning is similar to that, and that it should be resolved in the same way, which is that you should be given, in fairness, you should be given those documents. But that can never stop Mr. Chaskalson putting the questions that he has been putting to the witness. And the witness has been able to respond, but the main issue, aside of the responses that the witness has given, the main issue is that Mr. Chaskalson is following that line based on responses that have been given by the witness. And I think it's only fair that he should be allowed to ask those questions. And that's the same ruling that I took this morning with regard to the other issue that arose this morning. Now, coming to the second issue, if you were given those documents electronically, the question that arises is, what did you do with them? You say you are seeing them for the first time now, so it means when they were given to you electronically, maybe you chose not to have a look at them altogether, because you would not be saying you are seeing them for the first time now if you had had a look, unless you are saying those were never even given to you electronically, as Mr. Chaskalson says they were. So if they were given to you, it's not the same if they were given to you electronically 2 weeks ago, and not only, did you say Friday last week? So the two are simply not the same. It looks like you want to respond.
I do, Commissioner.
Yes, yes.
I do. I will not raise an issue with you if I'm not sure what I'm talking about. The documents were never shared with us. On the 3rd of March is when I responded to the affidavit that the Commissioner had requested that I should submit.
The new thing is sharing electronically. So I was saying they were never shared electronically
They were never shared with us at all. I printed everything that I received from them. And over the weekend, I took an effort to make sure.
Perhaps we should adjourn and let's see if there won't be proof of an exchange of emails, an exchange which does show that the documents were indeed shared electronically.
But can I at least maybe finish?
Yes. Please finish, Mr. Ngwato, yes.
And the reason I raised this issue is the continuing trend that every single time a line of questioning comes up, I allow the witness to finish answering it, but then becomes an issue of credibility at the end of the line of question to say, no, you are actually lying, what you are saying is false. Because if we pull out the following documents, we'll prove you wrong. And this is what led to the bank statements as well yesterday. This is what also came about Natasha yesterday to say, have you not paid up any money to Natasha? It's the same thing that also falls on today, Commissioner. Now, Mark, what I'm raising now is that in as much as accommodative as I want to be, it is getting too much that as we continue with the process, new documents are revealed and revealed. This morning I indicated to you, it was not just the bank statement, it was also written statements. And again, it was the manner in which it was tried to sneak into my file, giving somebody who's not even a member of the law firm to go and edit my files. And now I'm continuing with this type of a situation.
Was it really sneaking in? Let me tell you what happens to our files all the time, our files as commissioners. Because sneaking has negative connotations. What sometimes happens with our files is that the attorneys will come and will insert documents with us being aware, sometimes not, but that then gets brought to our attention. Was it not something similar where perhaps the attorney is perhaps not putting in additional documents to your files? I know, for example, that I think it was this morning as well. This morning as well with our files, additional documents were inserted into our files. Is that not what was happening with your and your witnesses' files or your clients' files or perhaps your clients' files?
The decency,
Just to see whether it was indeed sneaking in, as you put it.
the decency and the collegiality will require you come to me as an attorney of record. These are the additional records that we want to have. You don't go to my files without my knowledge and want to put in there. If I'm going to raise to say, didn't see this in your file, then it looks like I'm failing in terms of my functions. And I also do not accept the comment to say, had I been given these documents, I will not have had time to go through it. The same complaint I raised with you, Commissioner, right from the beginning. If you give me 4,000 pages, I'm going to have to go through those 4,000 pages. Don't tell me I'm only going to focus on 100. I'm duty-bound once you give me 4,000 pages to go through all of them so that I don't have surprises. And this is what I kept on complaining from the beginning. Now, the issue that I'm simply raising right now was to say I have allowed the questions to go, but it was the statement that was issued or that was made to the witness at the end that what you are saying is false because you have been communicating with this witness for the last 14 months, and this is based on the cell phone records, which I don't have. The witness could not have been in a position to answer that question because he has not been given the records. And if they wanted to make such a narrative, they should, in fairness, give the witness such a record first.
In practical terms, then, Mr. Ngwato, how do you suggest this should be resolved? That is, with regard to your access to documents. If you recall, let me again refer, I've been referring to the 4,000 pages from yesterday already, but let me focus on that again for purposes of seeing how best this could be resolved in practical terms. You were given the 4,000 pages, and as part of your application for a postponement when we first started, you referred exactly to the fact that you had been furnished with 4,000 pages of documents. But Mr. Chaskalson said of those, he was going to use only 1,300 and something thousand pages. Now, if you had not only been given the 4,000, but the indication was also that all 4,000 pages would indeed be used, we would probably have started much, much later than we actually did. So what Mr. Chaskalson is saying is that they often use their own discretion with regard to what they consider to be relevant. I assume that that will be based on what the witness has said in their statement and also on what other additional documents in addition to the statement the witness will have provided the evidence leaders, and also whatever it is the evidence leaders themselves consider to be relevant. But that does not mean that that will be all that they will be having in their possession. They may be having a lot more. It doesn't make practical sense for them to then dump everything that they have on the attorney or the client where the client is not represented. It is for practical reasons and also to expedite proceedings that they will choose what in their judgment they consider to be relevant. But proceedings being what they are, it may sometimes arise that other documents suddenly become relevant. In that case, fairness does dictate, and as you've correctly pointed out, that the documents should then be shared if and when that arises. So it is in that context that I'm asking you, practically, how do you suggest this should be resolved? Are you saying everything should be dumped on you? If not, how should this be resolved in practical terms?
Chair, dumping will not be the solution.
Yes.
Simply what I'm recalling is that if you are to refer to a particular document and you are aware that you have not shared that document, just give a heads up to say, this document I've not shared with you, and share the document with us. But to continue, and I'll continuously have to raise this aspect.
Yeah.
I was very clear when I met with them yesterday. I went back to them and say, I have noted that we have shared the following bank statements, but in your analysis, you included extra years, which you have not included in your bundle. Will you be so kind to provide us with that? They say, oh, we made a mistake. I expect the same collegiality from them, but I don't appreciate, and it cannot be fair that my client has been ambushed on documents that he had never had sight of, and he's been told, you are not telling the truth, because this goes into his credibility in terms of answering. He said from the beginning, I can't remember the dates, but I can give you a context in which I obtained that issue. The end of that aspect then becomes, you are not telling the truth because of in our records. Which records? We don't have. How do we argue against that? Because we don't have the records.
I agree with you 100% on the point you make with regard to documents that the evidence leaders can practically give you a heads up, but they do not do so. So I agree with you 100% on that. But I'll get Mr. Chaskalson to respond on that. That is with regard to whether they have indeed not given you a heads up where it was practical for them to do so. But I assume that you are not, in making that point, I assume that you are not referring to situations like the one that arose this morning and the one that has just arisen now, both of which arose from responses given by the witness in testimony, which then led to the evidence leaders making a follow-up and discovering that there are documents that relate to the answers that the witness has given. So there's a difference between the two. Mr. Chaskalson?
Chair, the situation is in fact different. On the 22nd of January, we gave Mr. Ngwato a memory stick with every chat we have, every single chat, including the chats that I've referred to today, and hundreds of other chats. He has had every single chat we have since the 22nd of January. If he looks at that memory stick, he will find the chat with this informant. He needs to look for it by name. He'll find also the chats with General Mkonazi. He's had all of these documents. We didn't believe they were going to be relevant until the witness presented certain answers. The answers of the witness rendered these chats relevant, and therefore we referred to them. The bundle was prepared on the basis of what we intended to canvass in cross-examination. Everything in the bundle was made available to Mr. Ngwato 2 weeks ago. The paginated hard copy versions of the bundle were only made available to him on the Friday. That is the situation. There's no prejudice to him. A witness can't be entitled to testify with impunity in relation to documents which his attorney has and which I have, but which are not in the bundle because until the witness testified down a particular line, we didn't anticipate the documents were going to be relevant. If Mr. Ngwato, I'm happy to leave this topic overnight and come back to it tomorrow morning if Mr. Ngwato needs to consult his own memory stick and look for the chat of the individual. If he wants us to print it out for him after proceedings, we can do that. But this complaint of prejudice is with respect completely unfounded.
May we, unrelated to this, take a comfort break, but perhaps like we did this morning, my direction would be for the questioning to continue. If after Mr. Ngwato has had a look at this, purely on the basis that This arises from the witnesses' responses, and I do not think we should stop the cross-examination. If Mr. Ngwato picks up something when he does have sight of the documents, then Mr. Ngwato may raise a point or points that he may be minded to raise at that stage. And that, of course, will also, that is the documents may also assist with the re-examination. But the stop-start with the cross-examination is affecting progress negatively. So I rule that the cross-examination should continue. But let's take the short adjournment.
Did you ask your informant how he had access to a SAPS personnel computer?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say?
He said he also knows people, he knows people.
He knows people inside SAPS who are going to leak SAPS personnel details.
He knows people, yes.
No, but he would have to know people inside SAPS who are leaking SAPS personnel details, because this is a personnel screen that is being.
I agree.
And did you ask him who inside SAPS was leaking personnel screens?
Yes, I did ask.
And what did he say?
He just laughed, he refused to tell me.
So your informant, according to you, well not, according to what he said to you, was essentially in possession of information from SAPS, which he shouldn't be in possession of. Is that correct?
Not my informant, but
Well,
the informant. I just
The informant who had been referred to you by General Shabiri, you say.
That's correct.
And that informant is in possession of information that he shouldn't be in possession of.
That's correct.
Did you take any steps to find out who was giving the information to him?
Yes, I did.
What steps did you take?
I informed the matter to General Shibiri.
Did you take any steps against this informant?
No.
Why not? I mean, it's one thing to have someone who's spying on criminals. It's another to have someone who is spying on the SAPS itself.
Because I've referred the matter back to General Shibiri because of who was the one who referred this informant to me. I was expecting such to be done by him because of he said to me he will make a follow-up.
Does it not strike you as rather odd that this informant who wanted to give you an address chose not to write the address down, take you to the place, tell you what the address was, but instead to provide you with a screen of a SAPS personnel system?
I'm not sure if I understand your question, Mr.
Well, the purpose of this exchange of information, as I understand it, was for the informant to give you an address where the informant said he had heard kidnappers were holding people against their will. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
He wanted to communicate an address. And how he chose to communicate this address, on your version, is by providing you with a SAPS personnel screen, giving the address details of a SAPS officer. That's how you say he did it.
That's correct.
Did you not ask him why he just didn't give you the address? Write it down on a piece of paper.
No, at that time I didn't.
You see, Sergeant, what I want to put to you is that this story is just simply false. And earlier on in your testimony, you suggested that you had no reason to obtain this address other than the reason given to you by the informant. You recall that? You said something along those lines. I didn't record your words exactly, but you were suggesting that you had no incentive or no reason to get this address beyond what the informant had told you about what was happening at this address.
Yes?
You agree? Well, did you have a reason to want to know about this address beyond what the informant had told you?
I had no reason because of, yeah.
You see, I want to put it to you that that is false too. Because this address, as you well know, is the address of an officer, the home address of an officer who was investigating Mr. Matlala and Mr. Molefe. Do you deny that you knew that?
At that time, I did not know. I only knew that when this information was provided to me by the commission. But at that time, I did not know nor make a follow-up on it.
When was this information provided to you by the commission? Don't want you to mention any names, but when did you learn from the commission that this officer was investigating Mr. Molefe and Mr. Matlala?
I can't remember.
And your evidence is that the only person you gave this address to was a General Shibiri.
That's correct, according to my knowledge.
Nobody else.
I assume, yes.
No, I'm not asking, I'm asking that you gave this address to. Did you give this address to anybody else?
Not that I can remember of.
How did you give this address to General Shibiri?
I went and consulted with him at his office.
And what did you say to General Shibiri?
I said to General Shibiri, this is what the informant has shown to me.
And did you write anything down for General Shibiri? Or did you just have an oral conversation with him?
I did not write anything down.
Did you WhatsApp this picture to General Shibiri?
I must have. I can't remember. But usually what I do, when I talk, I also send.
Sorry?
When I hear something or I see something, I also send it to him.
You see, we've looked through your phones, and that certainly is your usual practice. But in relation to this address, it wasn't your practice. This address does not appear on any WhatsApp. Why is that?
Can you repeat again?
This address was not WhatsApped to anybody. It does not appear on any WhatsApp chat in your phone. It is saved on your phone. It is a picture taken by your phone, but it is not linked to any WhatsApp.
This picture, General Shibiri is aware about this one. I have sent him. I might not be sure, but I went and discussed with him personally, and I might have sent it to him.
Well, you didn't send it to him by WhatsApp. Do you use other platforms to communicate with General Shibiri?
We use WhatsApp, we use calls.
Because it's not on your WhatsApps between you and General Shibiri. It's not there.
I stand by my statement. I did.
Sorry, you say your original statement was you might have WhatsApped it to him. Is it now that you definitely did WhatsApp it to him?
You are putting words into my mouth.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to clarify. Is your evidence now that you did WhatsApp it to General Shibiri, or just that you might have?
I might have.
In response to that, I put it to you that even though you think you might have, as a matter of fact, you did not, because there is no trace of this picture in any of your WhatsApps to General Shibiri. What's your response to that?
I've got no reason to lie about what I did with my phone and whom did I did it with or to.
You see, Sergeant, my concern is that you may have a reason to lie. And what that reason may be is that there are several people who were not happy with what this officer of the SAPS was doing in his investigations. Those investigations extended to Mr. Matlala, Mr. Molefe, and other people alleged to be involved in criminal activities with Mr. Matlala and Mr. Molefe. And those people would not like what that investigating officer was doing. And if you were leaking information to those people, you would have a huge incentive to lie about what you were doing. What's your response to that?
That's not true.